See you on the other side.
This is the Business Storytelling Podcast with Christoph Trapp, available on Google, Spotify, Apple, Pandora, and other podcast channels. Want to play it on your iPhone? Just ask Siri to play the Christoph Trapp Business Storytelling Podcast, also available on Alexa. Here's Christoph with today's episode.
Hey, business storytellers, how is everyone doing? Thanks for joining me today. This is again a live stream where we've been on Amazon for over an hour already, finishing this article that I want to talk about today with you guys. And we're also on LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, multicasting. Make sure you unmute to hear me. Of course, you can't hear that if you're not. Today I want to talk about video backdrop ideas. So this is an interesting topic to me because, as you know, I am a big fan of rolling things out in phases, right? So let's do this to get started. Let's do that to get started. Let's do whatever happens next. So I did not, I repeat, I did not have this fancy setup. I did not have an 18-inch ring light. I did not have a microphone hooked up to my Veridesk. I seriously recorded and streamed from my iPhone only. So that's just something to keep in mind, because at the end of the day, we don't need to make everything too difficult to get started. But now, as I'm kind of moving forward, I've talked about backgrounds, video backgrounds, so you can see around live stream, Amazon Live. I created that in Canva. I'm not a designer. I am not a designer. So just something to keep in mind. How do you evolve it? So the next thing I want to talk about is video backdrops. So what's a video backdrop? So this is interesting to me because I didn't put any thought into this topic when I first started. Whatever was behind me was horrible. I mean, I'll admit it. It was just crap. I mean, it really did. I mean, I hate to admit it, but it was terrible. Didn't look good. It was looking up my nose, was doing other things. And, like the angle was terrible. And I do have a better side. So like, this is not a bad side. You can kind of see the ring light here on the top of the screen there. So that's okay. Why not? But I like it much better. I like how it looks. I like how it works. And I'm happy with how it looks now. Now, we'll see. I might evolve things, but right now, I don't mind my real video backdrop. So basically, I got my books back there, and I have a book shelf, and I have my Iowa Hawkeyes jersey, which you can barely see from this angle. But when I stream, all day long on Amazon, for example, you can see it a little bit more from one of the angles because I got multiple angles. But we want to think about what's the video background. There's multiple options. And some of these options, you're going to have to head over to Amazon Live to get them, to check them out. But some of these ideas, you don't have to buy anything. Some of these ideas, you have to buy something new. So just something to keep in mind. We obviously don't want to overcomplicate things. There's really three types of video backgrounds, and it's kind of hard for me to keep saying video backgrounds because I want to say virtual backgrounds, but this is really, it's not the image, it's not the virtual background that you sometimes see on Zoom meetings. It is actually what's behind me. So right now, you're seeing two screens. You've got me, and then you have the Amazon Live multicast. So the reason I'm doing that, because I want to show you if you're not watching on Amazon, what Amazon Live is. I want you to consider joining us over on Amazon Live. It's a relatively new platform, and that's why that's there. It's really just an awareness play to an extent. So when we talk about the background, it's what you see behind me. There's really three types. What's actually behind you in the room. So currently, that's the type I'm using, right? Then we have virtual backdrops and cameras. It's really, they're closer to virtual background, but I don't want to confuse people by changing terminology here today. So virtual backdrops and cameras. So you can actually have a camera that does that. I tried a few. I found it really, really difficult to use them. There's already so many other things going on, honestly. Like, you know, I got switcher right here. I got the laptop over there. I got a monitor over here. I got the Amazon Live app over here. There's really just too much going on, quite honestly. So something to think about there. Then we also have physical backdrops. So these are the things that I literally have in the room with me, and they stand behind me, but they're not necessarily the natural backdrop. So I'll give you an example. Here's the one I'm showing on Amazon Live, and this is a green screen, right? So that's a green screen, and then there's many, many other options, and we'll click on another one here just so you guys can take a look. So we have the green screen. Now, the problem with a green screen to remember is if you use Switcher or Restream or something like that, a green screen is not going to help you as much. Now, if you're recording and live streaming via Zoom or other channels that allow virtual backgrounds, this could be really nice, because when you have a virtual background and you superimpose it, basically, sometimes, you know, it's not perfect, but with the green screen behind you, it can become perfect. So something to keep in mind. Now, if you're on a show where the platform doesn't allow green screens, it's not going to work. You know, what's going to happen is it's just going to look green, like you have a green screen behind you, and I mean, that's not very creative either, right? I mean, I think we can all agree on that. So then there's other options like this one, business office, whatever that is. And, you know, it looks kind of nice. And there's other options in here. You can look through it. Like we have this one. Let's see. And I'm really considering getting one. Like this is just a vintage brick wall. You can have different sizes. Not exactly sure what the best size is. So that's pretty big. And as you can see, you have to hang it up, right? You have to put it on a stand. A lot of times, so this thing right here is $47.99. So you have to read the fine print always. Seriously, always. And basically, this one, I would bet it does not come with the stand. So let's take a look. See, a lot of times Amazon will tell you when you're ready to buy it, what you need to get with it. So like, see, there's an offer. So I'm guessing it does not come. So if you add it to cart, let's see what happens. Yeah, maybe it didn't offer, didn't give me any, didn't give me that offer. But a lot of times that's what I've seen happen. Let's see if we can find it on this one. There's our live stream here, frequently bought together. So for example, this is even cheaper than what I've mentioned in my article. But here we have, you know, this is the backdrop, then we have the stand, then we have clips, $78. I mean, it's not horrible. If you need something better than, you know, what I'm looking at here behind me. So certainly something to keep in mind, something to think about as you are doing your live stream. So, but the natural background, I don't think it's terrible what's behind me. I'm not unhappy with it. I don't know if I need to change it, quite frankly, and I might just leave it. We will see. I might just leave it. For now, today, it's fine. I'm much more worried about the audio. I'm much more worried about the lighting. I think the lighting is under control now with this 18-inch ring light that I use. But for the most part, I'm happy with the background for now. I mean, so when you look back here, you see like an old phone line back there, and you see an outlet. It's a little annoying, quite frankly, for that to be there, but I'm not going to sweat it today. And it is what it is. That's there. So just think about what's behind you. How clean can you keep it? The other thing that I've done is when you look at the angle of how I'm sitting here, there is actually the steps right over there on the other side of that door, not behind the door, but the other side of the door. And so when somebody comes downstairs, you don't necessarily see them until they're quite a ways into the shot. I mean, they almost have to be right behind me. And one of my daughters does do that. She does actually come behind me because she wants to be on camera. But somebody just accidentally walking in, that with this setup, it doesn't work, right? They have to be very deliberate to actually walk into the shot. So think about that too when you set it up. And if you are going with the whatever's behind you, the natural backdrop, that people can walk in, and especially when you go live. Now, I give my family, usually when they're here, like today is a Sunday, I give them a heads up that I'm going live. During the week, they're not here; they're at school, and my wife is at work, and I'm working at home. Not as much of an issue, but when I know they're coming home, I certainly let them know. So there's different setups that I have. I like the camera where it currently is. If you're watching on the live stream or the video version, you can see the ring light is a little bit in the top corner. I honestly didn't catch that before we started. I probably would have moved it just a touch, but I think it's okay. I think a couple people might notice it, but I don't think anybody's going to hold it against me, right? What do you guys think? Quick sip of water. All right. Also, Jeff Kozlowski, he's one of the contributors to my Going Life book and Facebook group. And if you want to join that, there is an article now live on authenticstorytelling.net. So if you want to head on over there, there's a link to the Going Live Facebook page, Facebook group, actually, and join us. We don't have many rules. Be nice and share anything that might be worthwhile. And Jeff, who graciously contributed a couple chapters to the book, really appreciate it, Jeff, actually said, I've always liked the look of a simple plant, real or fake, that adds not put clamp on top of a shelf in the background. So that's something to keep in mind. You could do that too. I don't have any plants, and that's probably the quickest way for me to make my natural background here, step it up a little bit. I could just put a plant in front of the phone line and that outlet. So I might try that. Thanks, Jeff, for the contribution to the article and this content, and good idea. So I always learn something. Chris Pierre Giles, he's an Amazon live streamer as well. He shared that different colors of lights can also make a difference. So he has different colored lights in the background. And the reason that I choose and love to use RGB LED lights is due to their versatility. Depending on my mood, I can change the feel of the room and stream at the push of a button. So good idea. Thank you, Chris. And check Chris out over on Amazon Live as well. And basically, I thought about that as well. And I was going to buy some lights, but I don't know what they would point at. Like as you can see, I guess there's a wall right next to me, but there is that big jersey frame. So I don't know how that would work. Maybe I should try it. That's the beauty of Amazon. You can order it and then you can send it back and return it if it doesn't. So that's an option. And Chris certainly put that bug in my ear. I still might do that. I also might do the final thing we'll talk about in a minute here. But I also might go upstairs and ask my wife if we have any plants that I could put back there, because we always have things laying around the house, it seems, that I could repurpose. So we'll see how that goes. Virtual backgrounds and cameras. I did test the virtual camera before, and when the founder of Podpage was on the show, he had a virtual background, virtual camera, sorry. And it kind of moves around. Like virtual backgrounds are never perfect. So sometimes they work, but he had that. So you can actually download a virtual camera. The one I found, it costs money right away when you want to use it for that purpose. I wasn't necessarily ready to do that. Honestly, if I'm going to spend any money on anything, I'll probably just buy a plant, or I might just buy the virtual backdrop. I'm sorry, the video backdrop. These terminologies are so similar. We'll get there. So I might do that, just buy something behind me. Not exactly sure I want to drop $77 today, but maybe at some point. I'm thinking about it. We'll put it that way. I use a virtual background for the most part when I'm on Zoom. So really quickly, here's how that looks. This was my background every time I record or live stream with anyone on Zoom. Super easy. You can have my book on there and whatever else. So I think many people probably have experience with that, how to do that. The final option is indeed that physical backdrop behind you. And I showed you some of the things here on Amazon Live. We have a bunch of things in the carousel, that you can get. So here's like another one. This is a bookshelf that you can put behind you. Now, the one thing I mentioned in my article, and also back to this topic, but what happens if somebody says to you, what's the, awesome bookshelf? Like, you've read all those books. Like, what do you say if you actually have the, you have a virtual bookshelf or video backdrop bookshelf, right? Like it's behind you, but you can't grab a book out of it because it's not real. It's just an image that's propped up behind you. So you just want to think about that from a branding perspective. And I made the point in the article that, if you're doing it and you talk about authentic storytelling or authentic business marketing or whatever it might be, is that the way to go? Now, that's probably a little too black and white just because I put a physical backdrop of a bookshelf behind me. Does that mean I'm not authentic? I mean, I don't know. Somebody's probably going to argue it. But you do want to think about that. How will your audience react? Will they like it? Will they not like it? Will it improve the stream? So for example, I'm sitting here in my office. If I put a bookshelf behind me, will that improve my stream? I don't know. Maybe, but maybe not. And I don't know how far back do you put it. So the wall is kind of close to me. So maybe I have to move the desk over so I can put it all behind me and it doesn't go into the wall. So that's another thing to think about. I could do that. I could actually. So this is the wall right here on, I know if you're listening, you can't see what I'm doing, of course, on the podcast, but there's a wall right next to me. Like I'm almost up to it. And honestly, sometimes when I'm standing during the day and I have a meeting, for example, that I hop on, I actually will, I will actually just, I lean against it, so it is right there. So I probably would have to move things over a little bit, right? Like I'd have to move the desk into the middle of the room and then put that behind me. I don't know if I like that because right now the way the setup is, the window is up here and I can look out, and then I can still look out, but I can't look at the same angle. Now, yes, maybe I'm being high maintenance here. Maybe, I don't know. But that's kind of my current thinking on that topic. I don't know if I want to do it or not. So I have to think about it. We will decide that later. I don't have to decide everything today. But it's definitely an option on, on whether or not I should get that or not. And you also have to think about, does it work for your brand? So the other things that are in here, I mean, there's all kinds of different options in there. All you have to do is click on these links at the bottom. Virtual backgrounds. I think I showed this one already. This is like a conference. This is kind of like a skyline. This is kind of neat. I like it. It's only 17 bucks. You know, you might need some lighting as well. So just something to keep in mind. Once you have it set up, and if it doesn't look the way you want it to look, you might have to get additional lighting, which now there might be another cost, right? Because, you know, lights can cost 80 bucks or, you know, something like that. Here's the different strobe lights you could think about too. I've seen these on other live streams, and I'm not sure, like, I think they work for them. I'm not sure they would work for me. I don't know if if I like that quite yet. There's certainly other options as well that you can try and kind of look at. I put other things down here that you can consider as well on the Amazon Live version. The other ones, let's take a quick look here at what else we have in the carousel. I think those are probably the main ones. I don't know if this was I think the brick wall is super popular, apparently. There's a lot. This one is probably too colorful for me, honestly. I probably would not consider that. Office background, we already looked at that. And then I think those are the main ones. So yeah, definitely something worth looking into. The pros and cons, there are pros and cons, and I'm mostly leaning towards keeping it, change my mind. Now, I did talk about the authentic piece already. How authentic is it? Maybe it doesn't make any difference. It's just something I got to think through, and that I think you guys should think through as well. At the very least, have good framing that you like, that looks the way you want it to look, that's also comfortable. This is a very comfortable situation for me. You know, I'm basically sitting here all day, and then I sometimes stand up. So really make sure you like how it feels. Don't you do this when you first start. Don't worry about the backdrop at all. Start with the strategy of the show, the topic, the schedule, the distribution, and, you know, honestly, audio. Your audio needs to be awesome. It needs to be great. And, you know, I say that when I first started, my audio was not always the best. And I admit it. I was new, I was learning things, I was trying things. And since I got this new wonderful microphone, it has gotten better. You know, it sounds better. It sounds more professional. Audio is much more important than video. Now, I also have a 4K camera up there now. I didn't start with that either. But you want to think about that. How do you make everything sound and look as good as it possibly can?